Okay, guys, let's see. Okay. Okay, it's a little dark in here, so I'm going to have to work with the darkness. Okay, I'm going to try to find a way to make it bright in here. Okay. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Hooey. Hey there, Leah Sampson. How are you? Okay, I'm going to tell you about my cassette deck here. I'm going to do some adjustments on it. Speed adjustment. Okay. Good. Okay, here we go. Handy for working on radios, stuff like that. Okay. Okay, guys. Hey there. No, I'm not on the phone, guys. Ooh, shoot. I've already taken the top off of this cassette deck. Now, I'm going to go over this deck with you guys. Tell me when you're back. Okay. Mainly, hello, Leah Sampson. Oh, you're running this weekend. Make sure your mom are all right. We're okay, Leah Sampson. Thank you, Leah Sugar Britches Sampson. Thank you very much. You're a good person. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you being here. Okay. I'm going to try to straighten out my video making quality. This Sony was made 1982, made in 1982 and 83, or 81 and 82. Okay. Okay, now the features on this cassette deck. I think it's a timer. Hey there, pardon some adventures. Here's the eject button. Okay, the unique features that this cassette deck has on it. Okay, now I have two of these decks like this. This is your record level. For a good cassette deck, you need two record levels. Left and right record levels being completely separate. Left and right record levels being separate to adjust the sides left and right. Okay, we have a headphone level adjustment. It has a place for a wired remote. Okay, it's a wired remote. Digital tape counter with a reset button on the digital tape counter. For our controls, we have rewind, stop, play, fast forward, record, pause, and record mute. You can hit the record mute. Okay. For a cassette deck, what makes this deck unique? What makes this cassette deck unique? Above all others, is that, okay. The features that make it unique. Okay, I've got this the top off and the circuit board is moved. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Okay, it's easy to adjust. The features of this cassette deck are the most unique. Okay. Now we have Dolby BNR. Any commercial produced cassette tape album, it's going to be recorded in Dolby B. But for home recordings, that's even superior to Dolby B. We have Dolby CNR. See, Dolby B and C type noise reduction. And we have those here. Okay, okay. Okay, Dolby NR, on or off, and with a C type and the B type. Now we have an MPX filter. That's to get rid of static from radio broadcasts. If you're recording from radio broadcast, you can change it from source to tape, but the point of it is to be able to listen to your recordings while they're being recorded. You can actually listen to the recordings while you're making the recordings and adjust them. That's where this feature comes in. 3 head. Send, dust, and ferret head. Hey, better in Dolby. Hey, Covert Radio. Okay, 3 head, closed loop, dual capstan. We'll talk about that in a minute, the dual capstan. The 3 head, what does that mean? And very few cassette decks really have this feature. 3 head. Okay. You can see the play head, which is in the middle. Your play head is in the very middle, you know, and it's split in two. I don't know if you can see how the play head is split in two. On normal cassette decks, your play head doubles as a record head. Your play head doubles as a record head, and they both actually, the head actually doubles as a play head and a record head at the same time. This one has play head next to a record head, you know, and they're right beside each other, but they both take up the space of the original. This little narrow thing there is the erase head. Okay. Now the dual capstans, okay. We're going to go over the dual capstans now. The reason it has 2 capstan is to minimize something called wow and flutter. Wow and flutter is fluctuations in speed. That's what wow and flutter is. It's fluctuations in the speed. Cheaper tape players, they have wow and flutter because they only have 1 capstan. This has 2 capstans like an auto reverse, but this deck does not have auto reverse. It just has the dual capstan drive, okay? Model number on this is Sony TC K555. Okay, another neat feature of this. Of course, in the early, they've always had ferric, which is ferric oxide, which is the brown stuff. Which is what this tape here is, ferric oxide, the brown stuff. But you go up to chrome, or chromium dioxide, CrO2. You go up to top 4 metal. For a short time in the late 70s and early 80s, they made something called a type 3. Type 3 is known as ferrochrome. So it supports the type 3. It's a rare tape player because in the early 80s, it supported the ferrochrome setting. Hey there, Covert Radio. Yeah, okay, now. See, it has the 2, you can see there are the 2 capstans. Okay, what I'm doing now is adjusting the speed. Okay, down in here is your motor that turns your capstans. You see this big motor right here? It's turning right now, but it turns your capstans. And you can see that it's a better deck. It has big, heavy. It has more than 1 motor. And you have the motor that turns the capstans and the motor that turns your take-up reels now. So you have the 2. This belt turns both capstan motors. Okay. Now to adjust the speed on this cassette deck, I had to move this okay, out of the way. Okay. Now there's a small circuit board attached to this motor here. Okay. There's a small circuit board attached to this motor on the bottom of this motor down here. And down here, you may not be able to see it, there's a potentiometer, a trimmer, under those wires is a little trimmer potentiometer that is attached to this motor. It's actually a little circuit board attached to this motor here. You see, you see it right there, the white thing? It's a round white thing. Going. Let's see, I'm trying to get you all to see it. But anyway, you may not be able to see it. Okay, I got the screwdriver in the slot. Anyway, down here is a potentiometer. It's a trimmer potentiometer, and you may be able to see it down here. And the trimmer potentiometer is like a little volume control that's on the circuit board. If you know anything about circuitry, you know this is a trimmer potentiometer on the circuit board. Now, and you can adjust it. You turn the screw, turn in the potentiometer. The screw is in the slot that's in the potentiometer. Okay, now. Okay, I'm going to have to sit you guys down. Okay, now. Okay. Yeah, okay, now. Now, I made this from a 1 kilohertz sine wave tone on YouTube. And it's a 1 kilohertz sine. And I have a guitar tuner. Okay, on the guitar tuner, when I play the sine tone, it comes out as a B sharp, okay? It comes out as a B sharp. Or just below a B sharp or close to a B sharp. So it's recorded on a normal cassette deck with no problems. With the speed that's accurate on the cassette deck, okay? On a tape player with an accurate speed. Now I've adjusted. Now. I've already adjusted. You see. Now watch this. You speed it up, it's a C. C, it's a high C. You speed it down, it's a B sharp. It's an A now. It's supposed to be above the regular B. So I'm just adjusting it. I'm going to rewind this tape, okay? These tape players are really expensive. They cost a lot of money. These cassette decks are worth a lot of money. They're expensive, these tape players are. You have to adjust it very, very patiently. It takes a while to get it adjusted properly. It's mostly B sharp, but it can fall a little bit below B sharp, okay? Just have to have it mostly at a B sharp here. And I've got my, see, it's still on the B sharp. See, and I've got my, still got my little screwdriver on the potentiometer, which is on the circuit board, which is attached to this capstan motor here, okay? These cassette decks are worth a lot of money. You get one in good condition, you're going to pay up in the hundreds for it, you know? You're going to pay up in the hundreds for it. For a tape player like this, you're not going to get it for $50. This is not a $50 cassette deck. This is a lot of money, you know? This is the basic power circuit board that's actually attached to the power circuit board. On the other side is the circuit boards that control the sound and the amps and everything like that. And next we'll be doing the other cassette deck just like this. There's two of these cassette decks and I got them both pretty cheap. See the time? This is a bias control. Okay, now the bias, to record with bias control, now in the late 60s, early 70s, they come out with bias. And the bias was to make cassettes have equal sound, to improve the sound of cassettes, to give them a sound almost as good as reel-to-reel or 8-track. Because the cassettes were originally designed just for dictation, like a micro cassette. It traveled at a very slow speed of 1 7/8 inches per second, which is low fidelity. So they added bias to the tape to give it a higher quality sound. Bias is like bass, okay? Now this is most tape players don't have a manual bias control. But if you're using cheap tapes or different kind of tapes, you may have to adjust the bias control to give you a better sound in your recording. Some tapes, and the bias on this deck is only for type 1. But the newer deck, there's a newer deck just like this. And the bias control applies to all 4 types, okay? The bias control applies to all tape types on the newer deck. But this is the 1982 version. And the darker versions are a dark gray or a black. This one is the silver version, silver face version. Okay. Okay, your play button is illuminated in green. Now every now and then it'll pop down to medium B, but most of the time it's going to be on high B. I just don't want it to go up into C. See, it stays there most of the time. That's why it's a good deck. It has good sound, you know. It has good stable sound speed. You know, if it's flickering back and forth a whole lot, you're going to get wow and flutter. Yeah, that's the reason for two capstans is to reduce wow and flutter. And it's pretty smooth speed. I think it's getting pretty close to there. Oh, yay, yay. You trolled me, Johnny's Tuna Helper Casserole. You trolled me over on over on Street Life. You trolled me. You're not being nice. Oh, okay. Oh, good to see you, Johnny's Tuna Helper Casserole. Good to see you. We've got a lot of crazy stuff go down the boy. I first started working on cassette players when I was in high school. You know, I would get boomboxes at school in high school. I would use high school as a swap meet, late 80s, early 90s. I would use eight high school as a swap meet so I could trade for boomboxes, Walkmans and stuff. You can say it's almost on a steady B, a high B. I mean a B sharp. That's a sharp there. It's staying on a B sharp. Okay. Well, good to see you here, Tuna Helper. Mike Jordan, good to see you, Mike Jordan. Good to see you. Good morning to you. Now, I have to test it to make sure it stays stable on this whole tape all the way through. See, it's staying stable on there. It's not going up to C or anything. It's staying stable. That's what we want. On a high-end deck, it'll stay stable. On a stable pitch, it'll have a stable pitch on a good deck. See, it's not going anywhere. Staying right on B sharp. We're going to give this deck a break for a minute. Okay. It's supposed to be on a B sharp. And I'm going to show you something. Now, in a minute, we're going to go and we're going to tune the other one. Okay. Show you something. Now, here is the other deck just like it. Okay. I've got two of these decks and it cost me quite a bit of money for them. Now, this one didn't have a door. There's another one I was going to get, but it was in bad shape. The door was out of it. This light in here is a purpose. It's not just for show. The purpose of that light is attached. The light shines on a receptacle. There's a light and there's a photo sensitive component in there beside of it, and it sees that the tape is turning. If the tape is not turning anymore, that helps to figure out the tape counter. It helps to monitor the tape counter or something, or the auto stop or the tape counter. That does. That light quit working, so I had to get another little LED and stick in there. It doesn't work exactly perfect, but I had to get another LED. Anyway, I found another door from a different kind of Sony. I got a door off a different kind of Sony tape player. And it wasn't exactly the same, but it was similar. I just had to take these on the side, these places where it fits on here, and I had to adjust it a little bit. I just had to do a little cutting and adjusting on this door because it wasn't exactly the same. It was similar, but it wasn't exactly the same. So I had to cut it down a little bit to make the door work. Okay. I have a Boy George record. I don't have any tape on Boy George, but I do have some records of Boy George. Maybe I'll make a Boy George tape for you. Maybe I'll do that. Okay. Okay. Now this tape is a BASF. Okay. Now this one needs the speed adjusted too. Both of these decks we're working on B flat, and they need to be B sharp. Okay. See, this tape player works too. It's just the speed is a little bit low. It's a little slow. It's been beat up pretty bad. It's been used in a professional setting, I believe. See, that's a number on the side of a tape recorder. TR, I believe, is tape recorder. It was used in a commercial business somewhere. This deck, but I got a door that didn't exactly match. It's not exactly Warren. Do you know Warren? I don't know Warren. No, I'm sorry. Okay, I don't know him. But yeah, who is Warren? See, the door is not exact for this deck. It's not perfect. It's not exact, but it looks like it matches. It looks like it goes on this tape player because it is a Sony door, and it's just from another Sony. So it's not exactly the right Sony, but it is a Sony. It is for a Sony. I'm going to come in here in a minute and adjust this one. These two decks are just exactly alike. Stereo cassette deck K555. And you can go on eBay and you can price them yourself and see how much they are. At least $300 for one. A used one that works, you know. Oh, yeah. So they're quite a bit of money, guys. These tape players are quite a bit of money. Oh, now I know what I'm going to do. See, I just need to put it back together. So if I know it's working okay, then I know that, you know, it's working okay and put it back together. So I'm going to be doing some videos. If anybody wants to know how to adjust the speed on their tape deck, you know, some of the decks you're going to have your speed that turns your capstan, your capstan motor. There could be a little circuit board on the capstan attached to the capstan motor. There could be a little potentiometer. A potentiometer is like it's a volume control. It's you can stick a slot with a screwdriver that sticks in it. Okay. Now here's that little circuit board in the back. You can probably see it, but down in there, it's white. It's white. It's at the upper right hand part of my screen. It's white and it's round. It sticks up off the circuit board. And it's white and it's round. You stick your screwdriver in the slot that's on that round thing, and you turn the round thing. You turn the round thing to adjust the speed on the cassette player. You can get a test tape that's supposed to be the right speed. I'm in need of a good cassette deck. John Jacobs. Yeah, I'm going to teach the average person how to maintain their cassette decks. That's what my goal is on here. I've been taking cassette players apart a little over 30 years, and as older people, you know, your baby boomers that like cassettes and, you know, tape players and stuff, as those people get old and retire and go out of the business, there's going to be a lot of people that don't know how to work on tape players. They're not familiar with tape players. They just work on circuitry and computer circuitry. They don't know anything about cassette players and the mechanics of a cassette player. I mean, it takes real-world experience to understand the workings of a cassette player, how to fix a cassette player. Lots of mechanical things can go wrong with it. Not just circuitry problems, but mechanical problems. Okay. Now, I've got these boomboxes out in the garage. This is a newer boombox. I would recommend this boombox. This is a Sony, and I do like the design. See, it has the nice Sony badge across the front of it. You got yourself a CD player and a cassette player on the top of it. And you can find these pretty often. And it has an auxiliary jack in the back. That's why I like it. You can plug your phone right into the back of there. Your cell phone or iPod or anything right into the back of that thing. And you can record it onto a cassette tape. Okay, you got to go away. Hide user on this channel. You got to go away. You can't do that here on here. You can't do that stuff. Okay. Before I adjust the other deck and show you what I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you another boombox. Okay, a couple of other boomboxes. This one is from the 90s. You see it has a UK plug. That England, UK, United Kingdom plug. And it has an adjustable power voltage in the back of it. Universal voltage. This is a Panasonic boombox. But it is nice for a boombox, okay? Okay. You turn the... And the cassette is auto reverse. You got CD, you've got tuner, you've got tape. It does not have an auxiliary input. That's why I don't care for this boombox. Okay. There. That's how you open your CD drawer. It's nice, but it doesn't have an auxiliary input. That's how I don't have much use for this deck. The Sony has a, you know, you even have a push button to eject your tape. Okay, see, that's how you work it. I've got an electronic keyboard I'm working on. I found the garbage can. Okay, this is my cassette boombox with the record player. It works, but I need a pressure roller for the cassette deck. This one is in bad shape. No, this is a huge boombox in bad shape. The cassette player is trashed, and the FM radio don't work. A couple of things have to be done. Now this one has a record player in it. This boombox has a record player built in it. It's a Panasonic. And that's pretty collectible because there's not many boomboxes that have record players in them. That's what makes it unique, is the record player. And just when you're going to carry it down the street, there you go. This was known as, it's a twin of the General Electric GE Blockbuster that was in the Nightmare on Elm Street movie. So that is, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's got a record player. That's a nice boombox. This radio here, I got the cassette player working because very few of this model have a working cassette player. It's quit on me again. It's quit on me again. But I need to fix it again because there's a gear in there that's not right, you know, in that model. This radio here has a dual cassette model. And in this area beside the cassette deck, on the other model, just like this, the radio is just like it, but it is another cassette deck. Two cassette decks beside each other. I think a popular rapper had this radio on the front of his album. It's just a dual cassette version of that same radio, but it might be Public Enemy that had a radio just like that on the front of one of his albums. So Public Enemy. So all these radios have their own significant parts, you know. I'm thinking about doing a whole cassette mechanism swap in that one. I've got this cassette player out of here. This is a cassette player mechanism in here. I'm thinking of taking this whole cassette mechanism out of here and sticking it in that boombox because, anyway, I have a JVC boombox. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's cool. Okay. And before I show you what I'm going to show you, I'll show you one more boombox. One more. Now, this one, this is a Panasonic. The series is called Panasonic Platinum. Okay. It has a couple of features it's hard to find on a boombox. Okay. And this is expensive on eBay too. First of all, not many boomboxes playback and record with Dolby B. Now the big Sony decks have Dolby C, But this just has Dolby B. Just regular Dolby NR. That's pretty good for a boombox, you know. And it has record level. That's a manual record level. You can have it on the Easymatic, or you can put it on manual record level, and you have a separate left and right record level. That's what makes this boombox so special. It has the manual record level. That's what all your high-end tape decks have on them. They all have a manual record level. You're not going to have one with automatic level control. It has Easymatic or manual record level. That's what makes it a high-end deck. It's a manual record level, Dolby NR in and out. We have metal, chrome, and normal. See, a lot of your radios, tape players just have metal, chrome, and normal. They don't have the ferrochrome setting. This boombox came out around 1981. It does not have the ferrochrome setting, okay? This deck is unique because it has the ferrochrome setting on it. See, it has the 4 settings, the ferrochrome. And so, I'm going to adjust this deck here for you. Let you guys see me adjust this one. The speed is too fast on this boombox here. The speed's off on that one too. Now this will adjust. My grandmother had this. My grandmother recently died. This is a Panasonic portable. It's monorail. It's not stereo. But it is a portable, just a tiny cassette player. Recorder. It's a cassette recorder. Hello, Joni. Would you consider getting your hands on a DAT tape player? Yes, I would. Roy McCarty's reviews. I found one. I'd like to have a DAT machine. That would be nice. But yet, better yet, there's DAT, but there's also the digital compact cassette, or DCC. Roy McCarty, have you heard of the DCC? Digital compact cassette. Digital compact cassette is a digital tape like a DAT, but the advantage of a DCC is that it will replay normal tapes too. You can play normal tapes on the DCC machine. So, I mean, it's a little different. Oh, yeah, it's DCC, digital compact cassette. And you can, and it has its special digital tape, but it also plays normal tapes. So, I'll show it to you right now, but okay, now I'm going to adjust this deck and see, it's on B sharp too, just like the other ones. See, it's right on B sharp the way it's supposed to be. Can you see it? Can you see the B sharp? Dang it, I messed up. Right on. It's on B flat now. I wonder why it's on B flat. It's 3-speed, you see. It's going slow. It was on B sharp. The battery's maybe go. It could be going out. Yeah, I don't want to wake my mom up. DCC. Yeah, I'll look it up too real fast. Now, the good thing about yeah. Okay, the the tape that's called the, let's see. Okay. Now the DCC looks different than a regular tape. It looks a little different. But you see, it's supposed to be interchangeable with a regular. You see, it's like one of those videotapes. One of those crazy videotapes. One of those modern videotapes. See, it has a thing on it. The thing on it that slides open. Yeah. You see, that's how it works. You see, you can see how it works. The tape works. You see, it just locks open with the thing that slides. It has the thing that slides on it. That's like a floppy disk. You remember the floppy disk that has the thing that slides back and forth on the hard floppy disk? Yeah, it's like that. So, but yeah, that's what they look like. There's one. Yeah, yeah. There. See, it looks just like a regular tape. The holes and everything in it is exactly the same. You know, the holes in it is all identical, and it is the thing that slides back and forth. So that's how you play your DCCs. That's how you play your digital compact cassette, whatever. Yeah, or whatever like that. Yeah. Robert Palmer DCC. But yeah, let me see. Darn. Phooey, phooey, phooey. Dang. Okay. Wikipedia. Digital compact cassette, magnetic tape sound recording. Philips and Panasonic designed it in late 1992. It was designed and marketed as the successor to the standard analog compact cassette. So it was designed to be. It was a direct competitor with the MD. Neither format toppled the ambiguous analog. It just couldn't completely take over. Another competing format, digital audio tape, had by 1992 also failed to sell in large enough quantities to consumers. So digital audio tape failed in 1992, failed to sell a lot. DCC form factor are similar to the analog compact cassette. Listen to this. DCC recorders and players can play back either type, analog as well as DCC. So the good thing about a DCC, backwards compatibility, was intended to allow users to adopt digital recording without rendering their existing tape collections obsolete. So you can still use your tape collection. So if you get a DCC machine, you can still play all your regular tapes on it. You can still play your regular cassettes on your DCC deck, you know. It's digital compact cassette, and you can just stick your regular tapes in it, so it's not going to be that big a deal. That would be good. Digital audio tape would be good, but I'd rather get that DCC because I can still use all my tapes on the machine. So there, I can do that. Okay. Now I'm gonna check the speed in this other one right here. Okay. It has the cheap mechanism. That's the really cheap cassette mechanism that all your newer cheap tape players have in them. So, okay. Yeah, cool. See, it's also on B5. It's on B sharp, see? Now it goes to B flat, but it also goes up to B sharp. See, you see it flutters a little bit. You see it goes back and forth. See how it's not completely stable? It's on a cheap mechanism. It's on a cheap tape mechanism. I think the tape player I used to record with is not exactly perfect, you know. I used another deck to record this onto this tape here. So this tape is old too, man. This tape is 50 years old. This what you're listening to is a 50-year-old cassette tape. So that's that. See, it doesn't have the powered controls. It just has the cheap decks. But it's nice because you've got an auxiliary input. You've got a CD player. I mean, you got everything you need right inside there. That's a nice deck. I like this. It's a Sony. So I would give a positive review to Sony. Let's see. You got my CD of Bette Midler there. I don't know what model. See, there's your little auxiliary input. I'll have to look that later at the model number of this player because I don't know the model number. Look, you can play CDRs and everything on it. See, CDRs. If I had one boombox, okay, here it is. You may not be able to read this. CD radio cassette quarter CFD-S05. CFD S05. CFD S05. CFD S05. So a nice little Sony. And the round buttons. You see how the buttons are all nice and round? You see the shape of it? You see the profile of it? You see the profile? It has a nice traditional profile to it. Now it's set in the sun somewhere and the sun has made it yellow. They're in a house with cigarettes. So maybe I'll have to get it out there and paint the body. But I gave this to my mother, you see. I gave it to my mom. Maybe I'll find one like this new in the box, just like it. I want a portable boombox. This is the best. It doesn't record the best. I mean, it doesn't have the best recording. You can record with it in a pinch. Someone in an RV, it's perfect. And it kind of looks like those little things, those tape players, those wave radios that people have. So people like it because of the wave. So I'm going to come out here and do a speed test on this other deck out here, okay? We'll do a speed test on it too. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a nice little deck, that Sony. And it plays your CDRs and everything. Okay, now, this is a 50-year-old cassette tape, you see. It's a test one. Panasonic. You can see how old it is. It had La Bamba on it. Okay. And this one here, okay. Cassette tape. See, it's also on B sharp. It slows down a little sometimes. Basically. This is a nice one too. This bigger, it does not have, this one here does not have the one thing I don't like about this one, don't have an auxiliary input. It doesn't have any auxiliary input. And I like the style of the Sony a little. Yes, I am, Roy. I'm going to be doing that for sure. Yeah, it's battery powered too. They're all boom boxes. But this is auto reverse, and I like the auto reverse. But I'm a deal breaker in this radio. The deal breaker on this one, you don't have an auxiliary. I like anything you can expand. I like... You can adjust this thing. Okay. Just a regular guitar tuner. If you want to adjust the speeds of tape players, go on YouTube and find the sine tone, record it. Or you just go out and find a test tone tape with a test tone already on it. It's the Boss Model TU80. That's what it is. Boss brand. So, that deck over there is nice, but, and I'll tell you, here's another cassette deck, and I'll be doing a feature on this later. I was talking about the very first decks, the very home stereo cassette decks. Yeah, you're welcome, Roy. Now, this is a very old cassette deck, and the very first cassette decks that ever came out in the 60s, early 70s, were like this. They were made like this. It doesn't have, it's Radio Shack brand. But it, you know, all the controls are on the top. And this is like your early 70s. See, this is the early 70s. This machine was maybe made in 73. But that's the very first cassette decks. The actual decks, that's what they look like. They weren't like the ones of today with your controls in the front. All the controls are on the top of the very first cassette decks. So that's how your very first cassette decks looked. So it's I got that really cheap. And that's just an example of what the very first cassette decks looked like. That they were like that. And it works too, but I can't get the recording right now. Okay. Yeah, that's what they look like in the early 70s, the cassette decks. It wasn't until the mid-70s that they started going with cassette decks with the controls in the front of it. Front loading. Just like the very first VCRs that were made. The very first VCRs were like that. They had the tape loading in the top. So that's how the first cassette decks were. So I'm going to quit running over and over and saying the same thing over and over. That's just a habit of me saying the same thing over and over. So what I'm going to do is adjust the speed on the other cassette deck, okay? I'm going to try this one more time just to make sure the speed is right, okay? So, yes, I want to make sure it's right. I know I was checking these decks to make sure the motors weren't starting to wear out in them, because when motors wear out in tape decks, you play it more and more and they'll slow down as you play it. Last night I took these two tape players, these Sonys. I ran them for like an hour and a half straight. I checked the speed before I played a tape, and I checked the speed after I played a tape. So I ran it for an hour and a half to see if the speed slowed down. So the speed didn't really slow down any. So the speed was pretty stable. It's staying on B sharp. I guess this one's a winner here. Okay. Okay, guys. One more time. See, this thing blinks. That pause button blinks. There. Now this one's done. It's pretty well adjusted. Okay. Now there's 3 circuit boards in this tape player. Okay. 3 circuit boards in this tape player. Whoopsie daisy, sorry. Now I've got I pulled this circuit board up a little bit. Gotta do. There's a slot in here. This tab right here goes in a slot. There. And you just slide it up in here. Now, this is not really attached permanently. Now, I really need some anti-static stuff to put on my hands. You put that spacer through there. Okay. And this goes on here. The biggest part of doing anything electronic. You just got to know where, you remember where you do with stuff. You can't just forget how stuff goes together, you know. That's why it's good to live stream yourself doing it. Now I've got another screw here. This is just a little flat screw, just a little baby screw. Okay, yeah. Yeah. You still there with me, guys? I try to get it tightened down good in case it has to make a ground connection, you know. If it has traces on the inside of where the circuit of the now I've got the circuit board in place. These two circuit boards, I lifted them up. This is all for your sound quality. Okay, that's what all this is. It just comes down like that. Okay, and I got screws on both sides of it. Okay, screws go on the sides of it. 4 screws, you know. So it's just important. I like to be able to get to stuff and do stuff to stuff. So it's a pretty easy job just to, sometimes it's going to be on a circuit board, sometimes it'll be on the little circuit board that's attached to the motor. Sometimes you have to go on the motor itself. On the back of the motor is a slot on the motor itself that you stuck a screwdriver down in the little slot that's in the motor. And that's the only way you can adjust the speed on the motor itself. So, now, one more time. Come on, guy. One more time. So, I think I paid like $150 for one that was broken. A machine that's broken. 200 something for one that works. It's a little rough. Just banged up. A banged up unit. So, there we go. We got a winner. I just had to speed it up by hair. It's not a big deal. So there. It's adjusted. I'm going to do... It's a little dusty in here, I noticed. So there. There we go. I got another tape player that goes up in here. And I just, hold on just a minute. I'll show it to you. It needs work. I took a piece out of it and it has a piece missing out of it. Okay. Oh yeah. So, I guess I want to show other people, young people, how to do it that are not old enough to remember, you know. Now, these 2 tape decks here, I got 2 of each kind of tape player. This tape player here on the top, I got 2 of them. Down here of these, I got 2 of them. I got 2 of each kind. There, I got 2 of each kind. And then I've got my equalizer. So that's pretty much that. I got my light shining on my cassettes. Cassette tape collection there. Nice light shining on my tapes so you can see them. I see the EQ. Yeah, that's a Radio Shack EQ. It's nothing fancy or special. You know, the good thing about being into component stuff is you can always upgrade your system. You can always upgrade. You know. And that's the only bad thing about living in an RV. I like hobbies. I like to do things. You know, for up until now, the RV was a hobby. Fixing the camper was a hobby. You know? But after you've done everything to the camper there is to do, what can you do with it? You know, what can you do with a camper after you've done everything to it that is to be done to it? You've ran out of stuff to be done. If I want to live in it, I will live in the camper. But, I mean, I got to find a way to have hobbies in the camper. You know? So that's what I have to do. Have hobbies. Now I've got this boombox to be moved out of the way. Okay. Now, it's just a matter of moving everything. Inside of here, the oldest cassette player in the world, 1964. Very first cassette player in the world. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to adjust the other one. Okay. Now, I got my record here, Swing Out Sister, on the record player. I'm going to have to take it off. So, young people, teenagers and young people, there are a lot of... Do you have vinyl records? Yeah, I do, Roy. I'll show them to you real fast. There are teenagers and Gen Zers. What they call Gen Z, young people. There are young people here today that are wanting to get into records. Okay. There's Gen Zers out there, young people. They want to get into records. They want to get into tapes. They want to get into cassettes even. Teenagers and young people want to get into cassettes. They're fascinated with something that was around before they were born. You know, I've seen young people and teenagers get interested in records, and older people, yeah, 3 levels of them too. Roy, do you remember these? Oh, look at these. See, there's ABBA. These are here, if you remember these. K-Tel. See? K-Tel records. These are really nice K-Tel. My teen years and growing up, it's about 500 records. When I was a teenager growing up, we grew up with records all our lives as kids. We grew up with with records all our lives as kids. This is the first record I ever owned of my own, full-sized. There's Culture Club, Thompson Twins, Billy Idol, Police. We grew up with records all our lives, you know. The cassette was around. There's Prince Purple Rain, Bon Jovi, New Jersey. You know, we were looking for something better, you know. The compact disc, the fabled compact disc. No electronic distortion in the fabled compact disc. In the 80s, you couldn't record on a compact disc. A compact disc was simply something that you play your music on. Michael Jackson, yay. K-Tel, yeah, K-Tel that people used to get. Baja. Hey, Lionel Richie, I used to love Lionel Richie. I like Lionel Richie. Tony Basil. Remember that song, Mickey? Hey, Mickey! Hey, Mickey. That's the record right there. See, it says it right there, Mickey. Kim Carnes, Betty Davis, Joan Jett, Motels. Missing persons. Hey, Pat Benatar. Got our Pat Benatars going. Madonna. Hey, look at this right here. Oopsie daisy. Look at that. Madonna. I got Madonna. Like a virgin. Who's that girl? Like a prayer. The new Madonna. Hey, look at this. This isn't just any Madonna. This is like a 2019. 2017. 2014. Rebel Heart. Madonna. 2014. If you want to see new music. Hey, in the 90s, there's some Dido. Hey, look at this. This right there is Adele. Adele 21. That's Adele 21 right there. So, yeah, I got quite a bit of music. Miley Jane. What is it? What is it, little queen? What is it, little queen? What's wrong, little queen? I love you very much. My little queen. I love you so much. You gotta be the most beautiful creature that's ever lived. Miley's like a chihuahua. I love chihuahuas. Oh, Lionel Richie too. That's awesome. Yeah, that's true. Roy McCarty's reviews. I'm gonna check your channel out, Roy McCarty's reviews. I'm gonna do that. I have to unplug this stuff. Yeah, I can untangle this record player. Okay. And this is the other tape player. Like I told you, I had two of these. Guess I'm not going to use these other machines. I can just leave them over here for a while. Good baby, I love you. My baby dog. Okay. So this tape player is a little rougher looking. That's, yeah, thanks, but my channel needs some work. So it's okay. I can just, I'll look at it anyway. Now I have to move this over. I'm going to take the screws out of the sides of this thing. I'm going to adjust the speed in this one too, because the speed is a little low in this deck too. And these more expensive decks are easier to work on. They're easier to work on, a lot easier to work on. You know, they're friendly, repair friendly. These new, young people that want to get into records and cassettes and stuff like that. It's expensive and hard to find someone to work on a deck, you know, a cassette deck. And if you can do some of the things yourself, it's a lot easier if you can do some things yourself. What the heck? Yeah, so here we go. I guess it quit on me, that thing did. Now, I can't show you everything because I don't have any light in here. Hey, hold on just a minute. I'll put that there. I just got to have a place to, you know, take this off again. See, that's how I am on television, you see. I'm not stupid at all. Okay. Now what we have to do is to be very careful. Very careful with all these circuit boards. You don't want to touch a lot of chips, circuit chips and stuff, because you could zap a chip and destroy a chip, you see. A computer chip. We got our transformer, that's our AC transformer. That's 120 volts of electricity. You don't want to touch it, it'll zap you. It may not kill you, but it will zap you good. You don't want to touch it. I never touch them because of 30 years experience messing with this stuff. I don't touch it. Okay. Now I've got my stool here. I'm going to stand on my stool. Okay. Let's see. Piece of paper or card or something. Here. See this little checkbook? I'm going to put this little checkbook over top of my power converter. Oh darn, dad blame it. Shoot. There, we'll do it that way. Now, what I want to do, okay, look at this. Now, I can't show you down in here. I can't show you this little potentiometer, but, now, this, now the little, Okay. All you have to do is take my word for it. The potentiometer, this motor has a circuit board attached to it. You know, it's a round white thing. And you'll have to look up what a trimmer is. This thing is called a trimmer. This thing is known as a trimmer potentiometer. And it's a trimmer that controls the speed of the tape. It's a trimmer that controls the speed of the tape. And you can look up what trimmer is. A trimmer is. You know, it controls the speed. And sometimes on your cheaper decks, some of your decks, you have a trimmer. It has a slot for a screwdriver to go inside the motor. The back of the motor, your better decks, you're going to have something on a circuit board. You just have to look for the parts of the circuitry. I'll show you what I'm talking about. You know, circuitry has different areas on it. This part of the circuitry has a line. It divides the section of the circuitry. This section of the circuitry is Dolby and line amp. This section of Dolby and line amps left and right. Regulator, voltage regulator. Okay, we have EQ amps here for the EQ. We have FL drive with power supply back here. Okay, we have system control, and there's a little motor that's down there. The trimmer is down there, attached to the circuit board. I can't show you. You can't see it, but it's down there. So, and there are repair manuals for these better ones. Okay, you have a lot of components. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Just over the years, and you know. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this unit here on, and I'm gonna turn the big old receiver on. Big old JVC. Now, it kicked on. Did you hear the relay kick in? Good. Okay. You know, just the basics. I'm going to go over the basics with people. Now it says B4, so it's a little slow. B4 is a little slow. You hear it go up faster? See, I got this in here. You heard it go up if you have good ears. You have to turn it really slow. What I want, I've got it to B sharp, okay? I just want it on B sharp to where it can occasionally dip below B sharp. I want it to where it can occasionally, if it dips, if it veers away from the speed, the target speed, it'll dip below B sharp, because it's at the beginning of B sharp. It's not up close to C. I don't want it to ever go up to C if it fluctuates in speed. See, he's stuck on B sharp there. That's how I want this deck to be, because that's exactly like the other deck is. Just a matter of adjusting a little potentiometer on the circuit board. These speakers are Zenith Allegro from the 70s with an adjustable tone control. And so just a little adjustable. I think this is a winner, okay? again. See how it occasionally dips below B sharp? Automatically stops. Okay. The tape doesn't have any leader tape in this one. This doesn't have any leader tape. This is a very old cassette. The very first cassettes, some of the very first cassettes didn't have leader tape. So you can adjust your reset your it's a three motor head, three head. It's a three head, and I'll go ahead and do a demonstration with music from the YouTube audio library. I'll go ahead and do a quick demo on this deck. Okay. We'll try it again. Just want to make sure it's right, okay, guys? Yeah, thank you, Roy. Thank you, Roy, for coming in. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Roy. Thank you. Hit the bell notification. Subscribe if you want to. If you haven't already, people. See? Thank you's a winner here. Winner, winner, winner. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to record over this. I'm going to, I accidentally hit the record button and got rid of my beeping. So what I'm going to do, this is plugged in to the computer, and I am going to do a sine tone, 1 kilohertz sine tone. Okay. Okay. I'm going to record. Now we'll see if it's constant and see if there's a difference. Here it comes. Can't even tell. You cannot even tell the difference. It is solid as a rock, smooth as silk. You cannot even tell the difference. You cannot even hear the... Here's without Dolby. You hear the static? Without Dolby, with Dolby. Seems like it's solid as a rock. It's not going anywhere. Now, let's try it in this other deck over here just to make sure. Let's see how it does. I just want to make sure they're right, you know. Make sure they're right. I don't want to take these tape players apart again. Four. Solid as a rock, man. So, if you want good cassette players, you know, you have your 3-head deck. 3-head deck will allow you to listen to your recordings while you're playing them. Recording them, listen to your recordings as you go. Play and record at the same time. I think that's a winner. Okay. It's just to make sure. Let's do it again just to make sure. Seems like a winner there, to me. Okay. Winner. Okay. That's what a winner is. Something that works well. It's a winner. What I'm going to do. I guess I'll have to. Now, I'm not an expert or anything like that, but just knowing the basics. You know, if you're young and you really want to get into tapes, you know, next thing maybe I'll do is teach you how to change belts in a deck, okay? Change belts in a cassette deck, cassette player, is a basic thing you're going to need to do. It's expensive to take a tape player to someone and have them change the belts in it. It costs a lot of money to let someone change belts in a cassette player. Put this through here. I mean, and there's other things that can be adjusted too and calibrated. You calibrate other things. It's called calibration. So there's other things on a cassette player that have to be calibrated too. You're inside of here, you have trimmers. Remember I told you what trimmers are. Trimmers are potentiometers. Trimmers are like a volume control. A trimmer is a variable resistor. Okay, that's what a trimmer really is. It's just a different type of a variable resistor. It changes the resistance, okay? Potentiometers, volume controls, change resistance. That's how they make the sound lower or higher. It's like a dam, a water dam. And a water dam is going to raise and lower the water rate to let more water through or less water through. And if it lets more or less power through, it's resisting. And a resistor resists. Resisting means it lets less power through. That's what a resistor does. It lets less power through. And it's a potentiometer on the circuit board for adjusting, okay, things. That's what trimmers do. They're small. And you can calibrate your record level. So if it records with left side louder than right side, or it's not recording loud enough, I mean, those are, you know, things that can be adjusted and calibrated. Even the levels that are on your display, your LCD, your display, your readout of your power level readout, you know, you can calibrate that if you want to, if you need to. Basically adjusting, calibrating stuff. Basically the point. Calibrating, adjusting, they're just things you're going to want to do yourself, like changing belts, you know, is a basic necessity. Cleaning heads on a tape player. Please, you know, eventually you have to clean the heads on a cassette player because, you know, deposits from the metal particles of the tape are going to end up on your heads, you know, with the alcohol, rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip or whatever you have. You know, it's how you clean heads. You have to clean heads on a cassette player. Even how to recap a tape player system. New capacitors inside. That's a little more in depth, but, you know, stuff like that is the basic stuff people do. Okay. Okay, we got the YouTube audio library. Now this is Sunrise in Your Eyes. This is music for content creators. No copyright music. Now I'm going to do... Hold on just a minute. We're going to get a good tape, okay? This is a special occasion for you guys. This is a chrome tape. Oh, darn. Drat. Drat. Sorry, guys. See, this is a brown tape. I'm going to see if I can find a tape. Why am I so cheesy with these tapes? Crazy. Yeah. Why am I so... These are special length tapes, okay? These are the brown tapes. Oh, crap. Oh. These are ferric. No. These are... chrome. These are... Okay. We have two different kinds of tapes. Okay. This music... Oh gosh, dog it. Okay, guys. Are you back with me? Okay. This is just adjusted. I adjusted this. So you can see the tape a little better. Now it's for ferric now. Now it's on source. Now it's the right level. Now this is the tape with Milton John and stuff on it. Oopsie daisy. Okay. I think I'll set you guys here, okay? Okay. The pause button is illuminated. The pause button is illuminated. We're going to hit play and record at the same time. We know the Dolby is on. We're on Dolby B. Dolby B, top 1. We've got our bias adjusted a little higher. If it's a little muffled, some of these cheap tapes or older tapes can be muffled. This is a really old 50-year-old tape, but it's a Scotch. It's a good one. So it's a 50-year-old Scotch tape. Here we go. Now, you're listening to the original. Now, here's the tape itself. Here's the recording. It went down quite a bit. Now, it's going to brighten up a little when I turn the bias all the way up. You hear it? It got a little more muffled when I turn the bias all the way down. It didn't sound as good as the original, but it's a ferric tape. It didn't sound too much worse, just for an old cheap tape, you know. See, I've got the bias turned all the way up, because it's an old tape, you know. It's not the best tape in the world. It's a cheaper Scotch. There's better Scotch and there's cheaper Scotch, you know. And that's 50 years old. 50 years. There's the tape. See, on a 3-head deck, you can hear the recording while it's being recorded, just like a reel-to-reel tape recorder, just like a big professional reel-to-reel unit. You can hear your recording while it's being made. The original, the tape. 3 heads. I'm going to turn now. Now that's the Scotch brand, 50-year-old Scotch tape. We're going to get out the other ferric tape. This is a lot newer, late 80s, early 90s. Okay. And this is the early 90s ferric tape. It's type 1. It's a D60. Start this music on this YouTube audio library all over again. Now we'll try our Dolby C noise reduction. This is the original. Here's the tape. You can't even tell the difference. I'm going to crank the bias all the way up. The bias is cranked all the way up. Calibrate. You can literally not tell the difference. That's the tape, guys. That's the tape. I crank the bias all the way up. And I want to put her on Dolby C noise reduction. There's the tape. There's B noise reduction. There's Dolby C. Going to Dolby B. Back to Dolby C. Dolby C, back to the source. Back to the tape. I literally can't tell the difference. That's the sound on a Sony K555 3-head dual capstan deck. Now that is your ferrite tape, a good ferrite tape, decent sounding ferrite tape. Now this is a chrome tape. This is a type 2. This tape is a type 2 efficiency, energy efficient and anti-resonance cassette mechanism. Okay. Put her on rewind. Now, this bias control does not work. This bias control does not work on type 2 tapes. A type 2 tape is a chromium dioxide, which is a chrome tape. It does not work on CR02 or chrome. But Dolby does. But that on the newer deck, the Sony, I think it's an ES, a TC K555 ES, okay? On that deck, the bias control works for all 4 tape types. I wonder if there's a part of a circuit board that I could switch out to give this one that extra feature. So I can use my bias control for all 4 types of tape. Probably to change out a whole circuit board. Probably would. No, it's just that switch gets flipped right there. You see, there is your type 1 ferric oxide. We're going to our type 2 chromium dioxide tape. Now what we're going to do, we're at the beginning of the tape, and this nice illumination window lets you enjoy the sights of a vintage deck and auction the lights. They're going on the deck, in the cassette deck. Now the speed is adjusted properly, and this is the YouTube audio library, so it can't get copywritten. Let's start it all over again. Okay, now guys, we're on Dolby chrome tape. Dolby. We're going to the tape. Going to Type C. Type C noise reduction. Can hardly tell a difference. Back to the tape. My tape indicator is burnt out. It don't work. There's supposed to be a light that lights up that says tape. See? Without Dolby. No Dolby. But without Dolby, it still sounds pretty good on a chrome tape. Without Dolby. With Dolby. Going to with Dolby. Without Dolby again. And that's on your chrome tape. Okay, now we'll do that. We're gonna try. I forgot to do the ferric without the Dolby. I'll take this here and switch it back to type 1. I know you'll be able to tell a difference on this type 1 cassette without the Dolby on. I know that. Okay. Okay. There's with Dolby. Dolby. Without Dolby, sorry. Without Dolby. So here's without Dolby. With Dolby. Okay. I can't tell a difference myself. Maybe I don't have ears tuned to it. It's pretty good for a Type 1 cassette, I think. I did to make sure that it's actually picking up the tape. It sounds pretty good.
As full of fun time. On weekends, we would go to the beach. My father loved jogging with the dogs. And they also had a very loving relationship. That was completely obvious.
Here's an MPX filter.
Family, I'd say.
MPX filter is for radio.
60s, there was considerable pressure on your dad. The Frelimo military forces, even though they were backed by various communist countries, were totally outgunned by the Portuguese. Your dad was resistant to relying too much on leftist governments because he wanted to maintain good relations with the West. Some in Frelimo thought that was a mistake. And meanwhile, the white regimes in Southern Africa were worried about his growing popularity. So there's a lot going on. Do you think your dad knew that his life was in danger? Yes, I think he knew that his life was in danger. I think that the security was not strong enough. There was internal conflict.
There, it's better.
Certain people within the movement felt that Eduardo Mondlane was too pro-West. He had married a white woman. Non-visionary people saw him as somebody who was not radical enough.
And with a high-end deck,
he had so much vision. He was so contemporary, and he was.
This is my JVC 1980s cassette deck.
My father dropped us off at school on the 3rd of February. He went to his office. His secretary handed him a parcel that had not gone through security checks, and he opened the parcel and he was killed on the spot. Of course, there are millions of questions that come to mind as to why security had not checked it.
Yeah. Okay, guys. I want to try to get this door back on here. I got the door off of here. Get it back on. There we go. It's kind of hard to get it on and off there. I think I'm just going to leave the door on there. But yeah. Feels pretty good with the tape, I think. Alright. Okay. We'll take these and try these on the Boombox in the Lunar. Okay. There we go. Oh, the nice work. Okay. See how it sounds on a regular radio. Okay, guys. This is just on a cheap tape player. Maybe it needs to be a little louder. Maybe I didn't record it loud enough.
And he took up arms. Monla. A liberal figure, liberal in his thinking. Have statues. All could be done and should be.
Okay. It has plenty of treble. That's a good thing. I think it needs to be.
Transport ship Wilhelm.
Okay. There. We're trying all these decks and see how it works. Now we'll try it on the one we just calibrated, okay? That's why I'm always choosing stuff from the YouTube audio library, guys. I don't choose copyrighted music. And you'll have a good speed on all your equipment. We'll take it out to the garage to that boombox and there's a little something wrong with the playing of this deck. And then I'll let you guys go, okay? Good to see everybody here, the late night live stream. It's kind of cold this evening, cold tonight. We'll try it on this other radio. La, la, la. Okay. Okay. It's auto reverse. This is a nice one. Let's start with the ferric tape first. I don't know how it's going to sound on this deck. Okay, guys. That is that. That concludes this evening. I might want to think about adjusting the heads on my tape deck if they have to be adjusted. So, just to make sure that the heads are adjusted properly. So that's what I've done with these tape decks, just to show you a little bit about adjusting these. So I'm going to catch you on the flip side. Like, share, subscribe. Join the revolution. I'll catch you on the next video. For the sun don't shine. As for me and all of us, have a good night.